Welcome and welcome back to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. I'm having a real hard time trying to get this video out for you all, and apologies in that expression, but I feel like it's because there is a lot within this channeling from David Bowie that I feel like is really hitting home to me, and I think that that's going to be the same expression for many of the collective. So please go easy, please go well. I'm going to put a massive trigger warning on this transmission, and please know that I'm really here to support you. And there was a lot that I've been having to understand in the most recent weeks that I'm starting to understand is just a complete fractal of exactly what the collective is going through at this time on many different aspects of expression. And I've been breaking down a lot of old patterning, a lot of the old structures that were completely halting my ascension process. And it has only been in the most recent days that I've been really starting to pinpoint exactly what those structures were. And now I feel them collapsing within me. So please go easy, please go well after receiving this transmission, because I couldn't understand what was halting me from being able to move through it smoothly. And I realize I'm feeling this collective energy that is also going to be broken down within this expression. So please do pause here if you feel like you are not ready to be taking a journey with us that is going to perhaps leave you feeling like there is a lot that you want to ponder, that there is a lot that you want to perhaps work through within self. But I feel very much in connection with David's energy the past few days, and it's been interesting to feel just where the soul was in different aspects of their life. And I feel like this is perhaps one of the most difficult channelings that I've had with them to date. I'm trying to bring this information forward. It was very starty with them, and I think it's because they're admitting some real hard truths. And please hold compassion for the soul, please hold compassion for yourselves, and please hold compassion for those that you might be receiving in other spaces right now, because I think there is a lot of beings that are really having to face themselves, and it's time is what I want to share. And I was feeling this real strong energy of just everything, all the expanse and the magic come swirling around me. I really had to just ground myself in before trying to record for you all. And it was 15:15 on my clock, and I'm sharing that in case it is for someone. And I saw 5 pigeons, and I also saw an expression of 2 it was a real strange interaction with 2 cats that I saw, and it took me a little while to understand what was happening. But I think that these 2 cats had a fight, and one of them was then kind of skulking off really slowly, and I realized that they were in pain somewhere. So I was sending them energy in that space, but I watched this cat kind of slink off in their expression, and this other one just turned its back and just walk proudly off in the other direction. And I thought that that's a message for some in terms of your energetic process right now. It's okay to stand strong and where you believe yourself to be, and let other aspects of yourself, perhaps this has been a beating down of that energy, and you've had to say no to a lot of things. Trust in that expression, and trust that whatever has been transpiring in your life, you had to be there at that present moment, and it's okay to not hang your head in shame somewhere. And I think just be proud of everything that you have come through, everything that you've perhaps had to grow through, had to grit your teeth through, and you've made it, is what I want to share. I feel like this is perhaps a real pinnacle point in some people's expression, some beings' expression in your journey, is that you just decided to say yes to you, and that completely devastates a life somewhere. Believe me, I hear you. So know that you've done what was right for you. However you find yourself right now in your expression is exactly where you're supposed to be. Don't live in shame, don't live in fear, don't live in regret. Just have compassion for you and everyone else around you in their processing of this point as well. And yeah, just trust into the energy, and please know that I am here if you want to be working with me on a personal level. How to contact me is in the description below. But yeah, I feel like I'm holding everyone in their spaces, as well as holding David in his space too. It very much felt like I was really understanding this soul, and I thought, oh my gosh, like I'm really seeing myself in this expression too. And I think that's where a lot of you will be also. But the pre-channeled message from David was titled "The Light in My Eyes," and they started with, "Thank you all for being with me, with us. I know that this has been incredibly difficult for some to continue to face. I've been watching for a long time. I've been waiting for the right moments to step forward and share all that I knew and know to be true. I want to say that if you are here, it's because you are ready to perhaps face yourself like you never have before. All aspects of you. I see some of you still wanting to turn away, You close the laptop, the phone, and it's like the real world doesn't exist anymore because it's too painful. It's easier to shrink off into a space where you can prevent this world we speak of, where you can prevent this world we speak of as it isn't true. But I'm here to cast a light upon that shadow and state that it takes true grit to keep standing up and admitting that the world you live in just isn't the world that you were once told it to be. Some days it will be overwhelming, and that's okay. Some days it will seem like there is no light to hold on to, and that is also okay. I say all of this as I was this too. At times my world was a blur. It was just a mess. I didn't know what I was doing, yet something flowed through me, something that I couldn't describe. I kept trying to find exactly what that energy was, but I couldn't. I turned to the magic, as I've stated before. I've turned to many teachings of others, Crowley being one of them, and I learned a lot in that time. And I do have some channelings with Aleister Crowley. If that feels in alignment for you, please do head over to our playlist to receive those channelings from them. But I'm going to continue. Yet alongside all of that, something else stepped forward, also a darkness that I didn't know existed. I thought that I could contain it, but I couldn't see exactly where it had taken a hold over me. We're all pawns, and I hope that you can see that now. No matter what you've thought of certain celebrities in your time of awakening, understand that the soul is in pain somewhere, otherwise they wouldn't make such grave decisions. It's a wound. It is always a wound. I want to confess that at times in my life, I sold out. I did what the companies expected me, and it wasn't truly because I wanted to. And I think somewhere I've been most ashamed to admit that to you all, more than other aspects of my life. There was a light within me that I couldn't feel, a true me within somewhere, so I began to shut it down. I began to believe that I wasn't worthy of it somewhere, and that's when I turned to something darker, the magical practices. I didn't believe that I could just exist in my own energy. I thought that I should be seeking more and more and more, trying to obtain something that I already had, that had been bestowed upon me. It was my birthright to be free. I chained myself, and this is what some energies are out here to do, to chain you, to tame you, and that's what the music does. It holds a frequency to make you believe so much about yourself. You don't realize it when you are listening, but it is there. The sounds that shape nations, generations. Think about it. Each culture has its different influences of style, right? When did that come to be? Or rather, when did we lose the authenticity of sound? I asked you to listen to me last week. What did you discover? Was it me? Receiving me here and now, can you understand where I was just under the thumb? I was way more contrived in certain spaces, and I was a pawn in many, many ways. But I also just began to comply, as somewhere I just didn't want to fight. I wanted peace, and I wanted to still be relevant, or so I thought somewhere. It's hard to try and set a stage for all that I want to share, and I have many conflicting aspects that I know you all need to know in different ways, so I'll try my best. But most of all, I want to say that at this stage, I see you and that I'm here for you. And if you are struggling, think of me. I will send my light and you will know that it is me. I'm grateful to be able to share my voice in a new way, and a way that can shine on all aspects of me. I struggled in physical form. It's difficult to be human, the emotions, and so much more. So please have compassion and love for yourself and your neighbor. Everyone is trying their best. Even when it may not feel like it. It's a wound, remember. It is always a core wound. And I feel like David's expression within this channeling is very much a personal expression to all of you out there. No matter what you are facing within your own personal challenges or the challenges, perceived challenges of others around you, you know, we are all moving from a space of being wounded somewhere, and that's the roles that we are playing out time and time again. And that's definitely something that I've been having to take a look at again at this leg of the journey that I'm in, and this level of ascension that I'm in. And the human self is so incredibly complex. This is why we have so many beings of different vibrations grappling to have a human vessel, because you get to feel the emotions. And when we are living in that expression, you know, we think, gosh, why do we want to feel all of these things? But you learn so much here. And I feel like we are coming to a time with David's energy where we're going to start to understand just exactly where he did step aside. And I don't know about all of you, but for me, at least, I can start to see where David started to just become part of the mainstream and part of what popular culture began to be. And there's almost an expression of celebrities step forward and they give us kind of a modem to be working from in terms of what is popular at the time. But I feel like in that expression, we don't see that there was a being that had a different light to be shone to us, and that was then taken and morphed to be something else. So we're receiving the potency of this soul's energy and this soul's vibration, and that is being sent out to us, but it's of a different frequency now. There is a layer of this negative reptilian order and a lot of aspects that is being brought forward through the soul, or if it's not the negative reptilian order, it's expressions of how they want us to be. And this is what David is sharing in this channeling, and I'm breaking it down just in case it got missed on some. And I think this has gone kind of across the board with a lot of the channelings. There was so much that was said by a singular soul that I could feel in expression. I'm not sure that everyone else could kind of feel into that expression at the time, but I think if you go back into certain channelings, you will start to understand exactly what that soul was trying to move forward. I think once we get past the notion of, you know, this soul sold out somewhere, they sold their soul somewhere, that's when you can really start to understand what was happening with these souls and just exactly what they were going through and how that is going to be able to help us spot those patterns again. And David is here to break down music, and for the longest time I've been trying to make all of this make sense somewhere, but I couldn't. I was being told that the devil exists, I was being told that magic is bad, I was being told that, you know, there's certain frequencies that are here to completely reshape our way of thinking, and I believed it all to be true, but I just couldn't put all the aspects together because I've been delving into magic, I've been delving into, you know, this satanic culture, I've been delving into the devil, what that means, and it just took me on so many other aspects of research that I thought, I don't know how to bring it all back into one space, and I very much feel like David is going to do this for us. So I'm incredibly grateful for this soul stepping forward. My heart breaks for them somewhere, and it was really interesting to me delving back into their history and watching them. Look at their face, you can see it, you can see when things changed, and this being was an incredibly interesting being and how they looked from a real young age. And then, you know, obviously people's faces change, they get older, they become you know, they don't look how they once looked, but there is a light in their eyes that remains the same. And I feel like that is something that I see time and time again. I see beings that I've seen for a long time of my life that have been, you know, celebrities somewhere, and I just think, you are not once the being that I used to look at when I was younger in my expression. And, you know, yes, we age, the vessel changes, but it's not that. It's a light, it's a frequency, it's an energy. Yeah, I've got full body shivers in this, and I think that some of you are just starting to witness this too. And it's been really interesting to me to look back on David and see it just a real pure galactic energy step forward, and then they became something very different, something very you know, they weren't perceived as palatable somewhere. They were still shaping generations with their music and of something else, but it wasn't the first expression that they were bringing forward. And, you know, that was that soul's core blueprint that they came here with, and then it morphed into something else, and something that was more for the masses, but that was also it's almost it's a trick and it's magic within itself, because we believe that it's this soul's energy that they are bringing forward, and it is, but it's also a very strong narrative that they are bringing forward with their music and what they have to say to the nations, to the generations. And this has been through all of the generations. I've been looking back and seeing where music has shaped our history, and it has blown my mind. It has been heartbreaking, it has been harrowing, it has been, in my own personal expression, quite crippling to understand that, because I'm a soul that absolutely loves music, and I just thought, wow, like across the board we've been lied to time and time again. And, you know, I'm grateful to be able to see it, but it is hard. It's hard to keep saying, you know, the world that we are living in just is all a lie most of the time, and it's hard to keep standing on that conviction when everyone else around you perhaps can't see it, when it's difficult, things come up that is difficult for you to face in your own personal expression. And, you know, I say just pause. If you're finding everything difficult, just pause, but don't pretend that it's not existing, because it still does. And, you know, this is about consistent practices that make you feel safe, that make you feel calm in your spaces. And I realize I've just been flip-flopping in this space time and time again, and it was time to, really take ownership of my emotions and my physical vessel here as a human being, and say, okay, what do I need in terms of being able to continue to step forward and have this be my truth? I don't want to keep crashing out. I don't want to keep hitting those points and saying, I can't do this anymore, because that's an illusion too. Anytime that I've said I wanted to step away, I know my core self that I'm not going to step away from this space. I know my core self that no part of me is ever going to be able to step away from this ascension process, because this is what I came here to do. This is not the first time. This is not the first lifetime. But, human being self of me, the self that is struggling here says, like, I can't do this anymore. And that's okay to be in that expression. But what do you need to self-soothe in that space? That's what's important right now, because I promise you, things are going to get tough. Things are going to be difficult on your path, and that is just going to continue to be the case. So we need to have more love and compassion for ourselves. This is not about just true gritting it out somewhere. It is, it's about having that inner fire, that inner strength, but it's also about having the compassion to hold yourself when you're in those times of desperate need, when you think, I can't do this anymore. Where do you need to go? What do you need? What do you want to be experiencing? How can you self-soothe? Those are the questions that we should be asking ourselves from now on, and understanding that wherever you find yourself in your journey, it is not a wrong expression. If you have completely lost it, if you think, I don't know what I'm doing here anymore, you go off the rails for a week, that's okay too. However you've been dealing with your spaces is okay. At any point you can come back and say, I want to do things differently. You might not even know how that looks. This is exactly why we are here. Please do step forward. I can help you. I can hold you in your spaces. And believe me, I've gone through many, many, many expressions on this ascension process, and I didn't understand it, because sometimes I was feeling things that I thought, this truly isn't mine. But now I realize I've been guided to be in such a space where I've experienced so much that no matter who steps forward, I'm going to have something that will be able to help you in your space. So please do not suffer in silence. If you just need someone to hear you out, if you just need someone to just hold space for you, to just listen to you and hear where you've been, we are completely here for that. I myself and Maria, we are here to hold space for you. And do call upon David's energy. He has been here, there, and everywhere. But I realized that this was a soul that cared so much about other people. I just really did not know this about this soul whatsoever, and it has blown me away, the level of love and compassion, and just a really decent being somewhere. And I feel like it's really hard to come by at some expressions, when we're dealing with these kind of like high level celebrities. I feel like the soul did have integrity, and a lot of these souls still have integrity. And I've been in spaces where I've been calling people left, right, and center, because I've just hit that wall of just being angry that we've been lied to. And I'm starting to see that I couldn't come from that space. There was a lot that these souls have had to go through, and even when they have said yes to certain things that has been free will, it is coming from a core wound. It is coming from pain. No being of a stable nature would decide to do something that is so horrific if they weren't coming from a painful space. And that left me sitting back and saying, yeah, I have to hold my hands up. I was wrong in some of my expressions towards them, because they were in pain, and we have to give each other grace in that. So have grace with yourself, have grace with your neighbor, those around you, because everyone is just completely trying their best at all times, even when we feel like that, and they're not. But I think that's all for me today. I'm getting on a bit of a rant, and please do call David's energy. And I know that he wants to support some of you out there in the collective. I know that some of you have been asking for that. Call upon him, and you will know that it's him and his fractal of the energy that we receive, and he'll be able to help you through your spaces too. I feel like this soul is very much wanting to grow through us, with us on the job, like so many others. But I feel like they really are a people person. They are a being person, and I guess not to share too much since too soon, but I think you can all admit of just how much a galactic expression this soul was when they very first started to step out on stage. So I'm grateful for their expression. I'm grateful for their love here. I'm grateful for their compassion. And yeah, I look forward to the next chapter with them. But that's all for myself and David Bowie today. Take care.